I have clicked the record button. Yo, what up? Everybody at home, everybody over on YouTube. I have with me a special guest, Barrett Bryant of the playtest / design team. We record top 8s, so if this is your first UniVersus video with me, because of critical stuff, go check those out. But we are going to be doing a bit of a full set review for the Heroes of Exandria set that is coming out here relatively soon. March 7th. Isn't that correct? I don't have a yeah, March 7th. You can find your local game stores and all that jazz. We've done a couple of previews here on the channel, but this is going to be literally, we are doing 211 cards. We are talking about them. We were doing something before this, and Barrett was like, hey, do you want me on for the review? And I was like, that'd be very, very fun. So Barrett, thanks for being on, man. It's very cool to have you.
Heck yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited. I'm not gonna ramble about all the I've known these cards for a long time, obviously, but I'm more excited about genuinely your opinions, what chat thinks of these cards, how successful they think they're going to be in the format, and yeah, I can give a little bit of insight on how I also agree and or disagree with those ideas.
Yeah, and so if you're in Twitch chat, I'm going to be putting up a small poll on every card of do you like the card, yes, no, or meh. Please feel free to 1, 2, and 3 in chat. Give your opinions and thoughts on the cards, as I know that UVS employees do watch these videos and see the feedback here of how cool or rad or awesome they are. So here's the goal of the videos. I'm going to be splitting this up into a ton of different videos, and they're all going to have the same intro. We're going to run through all of the air, chaos, earth, fire, life, order, void, water attuned cards. From there, we're going to go to the infinity / multi-symboled cards. From there, we're going to do all of the ultra rares and then all of the secret rares. And so with that, let's get rocking. From here, we've got ultra rares. Last one, we have I would like to rage 3/5 2 mid-block. It's got the Fury keyword. This has 4 symbols on it of death, fire, earth, void. The first copy of I Would Like to Rage you play this turn does not count towards progressive difficulty. Great. Format a rage counter to your character for each of your momentum. Great. In its card pool, remove your Fury attack gains powerful 3. Incredible. This is a card that says the later on the game goes, the more momentum that I have stacked up, the more rage counters I have. This is how I Would Like to Rage. This is how Yasha has 3 rage counters, has 3 momentum, because she's hit you a little bit. She doesn't generate on hit. This is how she gets to proactively grab rage counters. Card's very good for Yasha. I think it's fine in Grog.
The form also draws. You didn't read it, but it does also draw. It is late. This was why. So it has all 4, right? So you can play this in either Grog or Yasha, regardless of what symbol you play it on, of course.
Correct.
It is incentive for you to play Furies, for you to give card pool, remove powerful 3 whenever you wish. It does remove his cost, so that means that does trigger combined fire powers when you do that. It itself is a Fury, which combos with like that one gain throw thing.
Yes.
You have 2 rages, right? That Grog has, so you can just
go
go this into that. I agree with you. This is how Yasha accelerates. And as I stated previously in the other video, I think Yasha really does this very well on the Void symbol because of cards like Double Fist of the Mortal Flame and Rapid Speed Slash. What you can do is you can go Double Fist of the Mortal Flame, cut 2, add a momentum, Rapid Speed Slash. This is not a card that says first form. You may then go, I would like to rage on a 5, draw a card, and then you get 2 more rage counters, and you are
That's rad. That's very cool.
scaling pretty well. And it feels just fine.
Yeah.
And of course,
And
later
it doesn't
on,
count,
you find them in the game,
and then you play a Fury, and
you can do whatever you want. So yeah, this card for sure I think is better for Yasha than it is Grog. Grog doesn't really need any extra rage counters based off of damage dealt or attacks dealt.
Yeah.
Which once you start including your opponents,
He scales
plenty of rage counters
very quick. Up next, we've got Scanlan's Hand, 2/5 2 mid-block ally punch spells. Got Scanlan symbols. Form: commit 1 non-character card. Commit 1 rival non-character card. You may spend a momentum. If you do, commit your rival's character instead. Incredibly strong. I'm gonna stick Scanlan's Hand in my card pool and spend my momentum. Commit your character. So good. And then response card pool. After a block is played, the next attack this turn gets +3 or -3 damage. If your character's hand size is less than your rival's, build this card face down committed, period. Do you want to hear the funniest thing that I have heard with this card?
What's that?
It is to play Kamui Woods, add this into your card pool, and not be a less hand size than your rival. So be a 5 or a 6. And then on every block played, the next attack gets +3 or -3 damage. Very funny. Very, very funny.
That is cool. I think based off of like what Andrew said in chat, in certain characters this is good, but I think just the second half is really good. I think this is just a better Blood Curdle for what we're looking for. Blood Curdle was very awkward for what it was doing, and as that card rotates, we gain this on a few different symbols. But having a momentum to me seems like a very fair cost for my 2-diff to commit my opponent's character.
Totally.
Which is going to help wall break. That makes this card very good for sideboards. And worst case scenario, it is just selective committal. And if you do fit the bottom requirement, you can get it out of there once a block is played, right?
Yeah.
For 6-handers, this is going to feel pretty good against 7-handers, obviously. If you're a 5-hander, it feels pretty premium.
Up next, we've got a Vestige, Cabal's Ruin 1/6, 2 high block, unique Vestige. If this, Chaos, Order, Void, I have to start saying the symbols now because they don't just match automatically. If a rival attacks your character and deals no damage, add a charge counter to this card, period. Inventor / Thief Enhance, this deck gets -1 speed, period. Enhance, commit, remove all charge counters from this card. This deck gets 2 damage for each counter removed this way, period. If you removed 5 or more counters, each player mills 10. This is a way for Chaos, Order, Void defensive decks to load up on one huge massive move and just kill you if they play good defense. Like, I'm looking at Void Rodan and being like, oh, I'll just block everything forever, have a Cabal's Ruin. It's time to kill you. I've got 30 charge counters on it, and I've milled you out. This does 60 damage, right?
Yeah.
Which is neat. Which is cool. And there's like a way to, I mean, even just like committing for +4, +6, +8 damage when I fully block out a string feels great. Feels very good because it is every time that they attack you and you take no damage. How many times have you blocked out a string and taken no damage 4 times in a row? That's +8 damage on my next move.
And
very good.
It gains charge counters statically when you do that. So even if you use it offensively and you unloaded all the counters on one move or one turn, you don't kill them, and they start swinging at you again on the next turn, you do generate more of them back. So this is kind of like a repeatable use thing as well. Obviously, if you're an Inventor and Thief, it's also crazy repeatable speed hate.
Yeah.
I know it's just one, but one repeatable on every attack, it goes a long way for this 1/6.
Totally.
This card's very good. This card's very good.
Yes. Yeah, this one's great. Dwüeth Var, the Star Razor, 2/5, 1 high block, unique Vestige weapon. If your character's a champion, it gets -1 difficulty. Pretty dope. Enhance, commit, selectively seal 1 rival foundation. Red. Response, after you take 5 or more damage from an attack, your rival must play a non-attack card as their next form or pass. They may lose 6 health to cancel this ability. Get your damn hands off me. Both the enhance and the response are very, very solid. It's got a 1 high block. It's very good. I am a little nervous about how solid this card is in the idea of they string out a move, they play a 5 damage move, or I DR'd it down to 5, and I force them to learning the standards, but pay 6 to cancel is such a high cost. You hit me for 5, I hit you for 6. How's it feel? Taste your own medicine.
Yeah, the enhance ability on this card is already good enough for it to see play genuinely. The bottom response is just that extra to boot. Also, unlike things like learning the standards, this one works even if you do block. There's a crazy world where your opponent sends you a 9 damage move, you half block, breaker to them, and then you also still respond with this, and you go, hey, You could pay the 6, but then you still have to go through the breaker 2, or just pass your turn. And both of those options feel good, and you feel totally fine because you still partially blocked a 9 damage move instead of
Yeah.
taking 9, right? So like the fact that this one doesn't, or this one does work also if you block along with it, is really nice and really cool. Again, still think it's super playable just from the selective seal in the first in hand. So
From here, we've got Fenthras. It's a 2/5 2 mid-block unique vestige weapon. Enhance, your range attack gets +1 speed. If you have an action in your card pool, you may change that attack's zone, period. Very cool for Vex 1. And then response commit. After each attack deals damage, your rival makes a check against a 7. If they fail, commit their character. Holy cannoli. We now have 2 ways to just free commit their character. This card is so good, man. This card is so good.
Range synergy, and there's quite a few good range cards on the air symbol. I would also honestly say that there's some on the death symbol, even with Mina 2 stuff rotating. But things like Battle War release that has death. You can find anything. Cards like this actually make you feel like you want to do the build around because of that bottom response. It's so powerful, turning off your opponent's character. Worst case, it says stun to them. And you ready? This is one of those assets that if you find a way to ready it, aka with things like Dottie that we saw on the last video, or there just exists things on Chaos Attuned, Dangerous Gambit, that allow you to just ready an asset in your stage. There's so many different things to where you have this multi-threat thing to point at your character, and it feels good.
Yeah, this is one of the good ones. this one's one of the good ones. Play to the dawnmartyr. I like this card a lot. A 2/5 2 mid block breaker 2 unique vestige. While this card's in your stage, your health cannot be reduced below 1 by rival effects. You cannot burn me to death. Enhance, your rival's attacks get -1 damage, period. Just forever. Just -1 for all time. And then response commit. After an attack deals damage to your character, if you have 5 or less health, the attacking player loses 5 health, period. They may discard a card to cancel this effect. If you block me, if you hit me too hard, I'm going to try and burn you for lethal, or you can discard a card to potentially I can stop the bleeding. This card is very, very rad. I think this card is so cool. This is the reason that I want to play Grog under fire, because -1 damage from this, -2 damage from Grog, minus a little bit more DR or putting things back to printed. You'll never kill me. You just won't. I have so much health.
Yeah, -1 damage on everything it does add up, unless you're playing against like giant hit you hard decks. Against Godzilla, it doesn't do much, but against the ponies of the world, it does. Like you said, all the burn that can kill that now exists in the game, you are protected as long as you wear this. Worst case scenario, it's a breaker 2 block. The bottom response, I would be very surprised to count how many times I see it activated, but it is fine.
Yeah. Up next, we've got the Spire of Conflux. It is a 2/5 2 low block. Unique vestige weapon. While this card is ready in your stage, your spell attacks get +1 damage. If your character is a mage or warden, rival effects cannot flip your spell attacks or cause them to leave the card pool, period. Response, commit one. After your spell attack deals damage, draw 1 card. If this is the second time you've played this ability this turn, commit this card. So Spire says that you can't Genkai's me, you cannot flip them with condescending, and then every time that my spell hits, I get to draw a card, but the second time that it happens, I commit this as well. So I commit the second foundation, commit this. This is great. This is so cool.
Yeah. No faith shields, no absorbed energy strikes, all of those things. No cape of no returns, right? It is a real offensive protection piece. And that part of the static, by the way, is still protected as long as you're a mage or a warden. You just only lose the damage when you go and you use the draw too many times.
Yes.
Which means this card is just raw good.
Yeah.
Draw power and protection of your spells, awesome.
Yeah, super excited to play this one, Caleb. Super excited to play this one, Caleb. Titanstone Knuckles, the one that I think everybody has been like the most vocal about online. 3/5, 2 low block, deflect 3, unique vestige weapon, enhance, commit a foundation. Your attack gets +2 damage and gains stun 1. Then response, commit after this attack is blocked. Destroy 1 rival asset and your rival flips 1 foundation. They get to pick. I pick the asset, they pick the foundation. And then Brawler Brute Enhance Commit. You may use this card's deflectability from your stage this attack. It's got Earth, Fire, Water. The coolest character that I've seen that can play this is just Law. Martial Law says, I commit 1 for 2 damage, stun 1. I committed 1, so it's like an extra speed, I think, or it's extra damage. And then it's stun 1, so it's extra speed or damage, depending on what it is.
And then when they commit 1, you get an extra stat.
It's Martial Law with Titanstone Knuckles is dope. And he's a brawler, so he gets to use the deflect if he wants to.
Deflect.
Yeah, it's neat. It's very, very cool.
I actually really like the response on this card. It is
raw good,
asset
man.
hate. It's asset hate and does the flip game plan, which is why this card also has Earth, so it's really good for those Earth flip decks.
Yeah.
And it works when you block or when your opponent blocks you.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely awesome.
Flip that cape. Sorry, Bucko. Yeah, great. Titanstone Knuckles is going to be a staple.
Destroy the cape.
Oh, yeah, destroy the cape. Yeah.
Flip something else, yeah.
From here, we have some attacks. Aerial Goblin Bolt, 3/3, 3 high for 3 with a 1 mid block. Blitz, selectively seal 1 rival foundation, and then response flip card pool. After a Blitz or Enhance ability is played, cancel it. Has Air, Chaos, and Void. Card's annoying at best. It's very good in Devil Gen. I think everywhere else, it's fine. It's fine everywhere else.
It's as good as long as we can find ways to add this to our card pool, like from discard pile, of course.
Yeah.
Which is just not a lot of different ways except for Devil Gen. It does say non-character for the cancel, which means it's just very strong.
It does not say non-character.
Yeah, it does not say non-character, which means it's strong.
Yes.
And selective seal on the Blitz, sure, for when you attack with it. Obviously, I think the best parts of this card is when you block with it, turning off your opponent's best offensive enhance.
Yeah.
Is very good.
From here, we've got Bagpipe Cacophony. It is a 5/3, 5 high for 5 with a 0 high block slam weapon. Blitz, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Put 1 of the revealed cards on the top of your deck and the rest on the bottom of your bottom deck in a random order. Response, after you block with this card, add a backup from your discard pile to your hand. I guess it's like stack my next check. It's kind of cool. And then accidentally find a backup from your discard pile to your hand. I don't know what backup I'm actively looking to add. I'm not directly seeing the line that UBS Games wants me to take with this card.
The text on this attack, I think, is very fine. It just doesn't feel very ultra rare to me. It's a utility piece. It's just a flow card, and it doesn't feel good enough as like other flow cards that we have. So I don't really know.
Zero high block is great.
I have no idea where it goes.
Yeah. It's a tough sell. It might be really good later. Up next, we've got Blessed Metal. Or Blessed Metal. I think that's what Tim wanted me to say. 4/3, 4 mid for 4, 2 mid block, Fury spell weapon. It's got Pike's keywords or Pike symbols. Blitz. If you have gained health this turn, draw a card. If you're at maximum health, this deck gets +1 speed, +1 damage. 4 diff, 5 mid for 5 that redraws you a card. If it's a 5 diff, or if you've got some response or form speed health gain. This card is...
You do, right? Buddies exists.
Yeah. Best buddies. This card is fine at best. It's probably like fine to bad as an ultra rare. It does not feel incredible to play. I wish that there was some other EX powerful champion breaker 3, something to like really spice this card up, but as is, it's just like this is not battle or release as a four for 4 diff, 2 mid block, do the thing, right? It's not.
It is a spell. I think that'll be relevant, obviously, for these symbols, as we saw some of the other assets already, right? Like the spell keyword has relevance here,
Yeah.
and the fact that it is still a 4 diff cantrip that does wear stats fine. I think it is fine. It is going to be very pigeon-held into characters that gain life, and if you do not gain life, this card is probably nowhere on your list of going in a deck.
Yeah. Channeling Spell Seal. 4/3, 4 high for 4, 2 mid block. Deadlock stun 2. Very cool to see more deadlock. Charge spell. If your rival blocks this attack, seal their block. Can be relevant. Blitz. Your next attack gets 1/1. So the more that we can like chain out big long spell strengths, the better. Response. After this attack deals damage, draw a card. So it's like keeps your hand nice and fresh. I like this card better than the past 4 diff 4 for 4 that exists. It just like feels like it's doing a little bit more all the time. Its floor has been raised up so that like it is just a better card in general. It's got this cool deadlock. Like imagine like deadlock stun or deadlock stun whatever or whatever on this card.
Yeah, this is the winner for me. Like I think this
Yes.
card's actually a lot better than people think that it is. It's an on deal draw, which I think is fine. Most people look at 4 for 4 and they're not going to block it because it carries stats to the next thing.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, they're probably not going to block it either because most people would tell you that some high attacks are illegal right now because of things like Showdown.
Seals
Showdown
it.
doesn't work against this.
Yeah.
So that alone makes this card, I think, very good. This card doesn't get breakered on. This card doesn't. You ready? If someone wants to block with their goblin bolts, you seal it.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to worry about it. It's all of those things, and they can't even block this on a half with the combined firepower, without the combined firepower counting towards progressive. Like that static is
This card's
not
dope.
irrelevant. And so because of that, it is just one of the best flow spells in the spell lineup.
Yeah.
And because it's a 4 diff, means it's going to go in your decks if you're trying to do the thing.
Up next, we've got Extended Back Roundhouse. I actively hate this card. It's a 4/2, 4 low for 4 with a 1 low block. It has Echo and Kick. Echo's very cool for this one. It's got both symbols. It says Blitz. If you have 3 or more cards in your card pool, build all face down cards in your card pool during the in-phase period. Question on timing.
Yeah.
Blitz : does it check right now if I have 3 or more cards in my card pool, or does it check at the end of the turn if I've got 3 or more face downs? 3 or more cards in my card pool. Excuse me.
It should check at the end phase, like that's when the effect happens. So
Okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
the idea is you are based off of that. So the blitz is as long as you meet that requirement at the end phase, you build all of them down.
Okay.
Regardless, I think this card's fine, even if it doesn't work the other way. But I'm pretty sure the way that it works is you are allowed to just play this guy, use the bow enhance to add 2 things into your card pool, and it still works. Honestly,
Yes.
the way that it really is, like the way that it's like I think meant to flow is you're allowed to lead with this bow enhance, do the thing, and then when you go to echo it, it's alive no matter what.
Correct. But when you echo it, it's on a
Right.
6, which is the issue.
Sure.
Right?
But like, I think that's fine.
What we want to do is we want to play it, echo it, then bow.
Yeah,
but
because then it becomes. Regardless, I think
Yeah.
you want to echo it no matter what, because the point is that after it echoes, it
becomes
flips
face
face down, so
and then
it'll
we
build.
3. Yes.
Correct. So so, but as far as I'm aware, it checks at the end phase. Yeah.
Anyways, there's no such thing as a back roundhouse. Gravity Well. 4/3, 4 low for 4 with a 1 mid block. Mage, powerful 4, which I think is huge. Spell. Blitz, : cards cannot be flipped during this attack. You already talked about it in a previous video about the holstered spellbook. I did not see that instantly whenever this card existed.
The big one people saw is Button Collector
Yes.
with this card, which only works on Chaos. I don't think Button Collector has Void, does it?
It also has Void, yes.
So it works on both, which means you're allowed to fill your board with Button Collectors. And when you find the Gravity Well, you may play You may play the Gravity Well, and then you can turn all of your button collectors sideways and draw 1,000,000 cards, and you don't have to flip them.
So sick. And then response after you play this card. So whether an attack or as a block, foundations cannot be destroyed for the rest of this turn, period. Your rival may commit to foundations to cancel this effect. So they can no longer sacrifice for effect or cost. They can't use things like chomp. Just foundations can't be destroyed any longer for this turn.
And
but
that
they can stun too.
Works on block.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a very neat one, and I like the fact that it is also a dunk of the powerful Mage Powerful 2, right?
Yep.
Let's come back here. Where's my champion Powerful 2,
right.
Powerful whatever, right?
All right.
Yeah. Grovekeeper's Authority. 7/3, 7 high for 7, 1 low block spell, Blitz, spend a momentum, build all party backups from discard pile, remove those cards at the end of your combat phase. If you are looking to build to get the abilities on your backups, the party backups aren't good enough at the moment, I don't think. But what this does say is that you have just supercharged Caduceus to then give minus speed, or sorry, it's plus damage because we wouldn't give minus speed or a move. Plus damage on a move, draw a bunch of cards, pop off, and do the thing. I think Grovekeeper's Authority is very, very cool in him. The other thing that it does is it says that you build all the party backups from your discard pile. Whenever you build in the same named backups, you get to choose which of the backups you keep, and then the other ones get destroyed, which means that you trigger all of your if backup destroyed abilities, such as Death Rattle. So sometimes Grovekeeper's Authority, you just build them all in, and then crack your opponent for like an extra 6 to whatever burn damage just because you broke all of your other ones. Wish they destroyed at the end of the turn combat phase just to crack them again, but I totally understand why they don't.
Well, spoiler alert, it used to say that, and we were killing people with Death Rattle, so it had to get nerfed. So
I get it. I get it.
We left it so that you could still do the unique ruling. It is playable. It's kind of cute. It's kind of niche. But the fact of the matter is, you ready? As we move on to the next video, there is a card called Harness on Death. It is not unrealistic to have a game plan like what you just described with Grovekeeper's Authority, and within the same deck, you play a card called Harness on Death, which can burn your opponent based off of the number of backups in your discard pile, which you need them in your discard pile to use Grovekeeper's Authority with all the unique ones. It is a real deck build. It is somewhat successful. It just requires a lot of setup, and you want to use a character and support that benefits from having a bunch of backups in your discard pile and or your stage. It is cool. This card's very niche, whereas most of the time I would just recommend building a deck around Harness on Death.
Yeah.
Aside from this one.
Up next, we've got Hooligan's Mockery. It is a 5/2, 5 high for 5 with a 1 high block, breaker, taunt, weapon, blitz, lose a health, seal 2 rival foundations. This deck gets 1 damage for each sealed rival foundation, period. There's a foundation in the void symbol that we saw that just says at the start of the combat phase, we each seal one of each other's foundations. I slam a couple of those down. I've got Hooligan's Mockery. This card's gonna be hitting really, really hard.
Yeah. I think right away when you look at this, the 2-check doesn't feel very warranted, but the 2-check feels way more and more powerful with more sealing that it can exist. Alone, this card says Blitz, lose 1, seal your best 2 cards on your opponent's side of the stage.
It's 5 high for 7.
Yeah, minimum.
That's great.
1 high with a breaker, 1 block. This card is very strong. This card is very good. I genuinely think you can do a build around with this deck.
Yeah.
Or with this card. And it just scales and scales and scales. And like you said, as long as your stage doesn't matter and you play more of those 1/4s, you seal so many cards.
Yeah. To the point where like it's with Hooligan's Mockery, if I've got multiple of those 1/4s, they're gonna want to seal the other copy of the 1/4s so that I don't just like get
before
plus
we get there.
Because it's for each sealed rival foundation, so I can't keep sealing more things to just get more damage on the Mockeries. It's very, very good.
To boot, right? Mollymawk gives this damage and stun, so it feels even better. And Mollymawk also helps seal foundations. So obviously this is a
Yes.
Mollymawk card. It is also a weapon, so characters like Ford, who also seals, can play this. Overall, it is just very, very good. It's crazy. You ready? I even think you're allowed to play this in characters like Todoroki 4, and this
Yes.
just be the only
With
non-ranged attack that you
a
put in your
bomb at
entire
the
deck.
end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
genuinely. First good.
Up next, we've got Hunter's Ally. I think this might be like one of the coolest pieces of art. I love the action of the thwang of the bow with the big circle. Oh, it's very cool showcase of action. 5/3, 4 high for 5, 2 mid block. Warden EX3.
But you got a big gripe with blessing metal. Jesus Christ.
It feels so unfinished. Ally ranged weapon blitz. Build an ally card from your discard pile. Period. It's just trinket, man. You just build in trinket and then you're off to the races. You can see the bear in the background. You play the bear.
It's not just trinket. We talked about it in a previous video. Jarrett, one of the 4 difficulty infinity allies. You build this in, or you build it in with this. It is a weapon. If they block your hunter's ally, you shove Jarrett up to grab the hunter's ally, which means you're allowed to play the hunter's ally again to build another Jarrett from your discard pile. Or if you're playing Vexalia 2, you just build the Jarrett back down on the enhanced step, which means you're allowed to build in a different ally with the hunter's ally. This card's so good. This is Command Pigeon Flock, but it is actually better because it doesn't say foundation.
Correct. But it doesn't have the added caveat of, spend a momentum and get one really big stat based on the number of ally cards. It's just EX3, which is not very good.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of ally synergy currently within this set. There is a life attack that we talked about in the video that scales with the number of allies in your card pool, which also means you can play the life foundation that we talked about in that video that says if you play a non-attack card, you can have it ignore progressive. So this, in conjunction with that attack and just filling your deck with allies that are benefit, it means that the Jarretts in your card pool contribute to the damage for that attack. It just synergizes so well with this. This card's going to be very good. It really is ultra rare level of Command Pigeon Flock, and it feels that way with the world that we live in now.
Yeah. Up next, we've got Inventor's Creation. 4/3, 4 low for 4 spell attack weapon. Response: remove 1 attack from your discard pile. After you play this card, so as an attack or a block, this deck gains all keywords and keyword ratings printed on the card removed to pay the cost of this ability. Did your card have Breaker? Well, now so does Inventor's Creation. Did your card have, after you're playing it as an attack, did you remove Throw? This card is now a Throw. This card is very, very cool at being open-ended on how you kind of want to build your deck around. It also has the chaos symbol, which I think is really interesting, as it is a spell.
I think it's actually kind of smart that this does not have death, because death has plenty of ways of removing cards for that remove matters package. As we'll get to another ultra rare later, of course, that is probably the bread and butter for that deck. But this is a good reason for you to do air or order, in my opinion, for Percival, because this is one of those ones that can gain flash if you remove one of the flash attacks that we've shown up already in the set. So this is a bonus flash attack in that deck that gives you even more stats. So Flash Percy being a real deck option, I think this card really helps with that. And like you said, you're allowed to remove a breaker defensively when you block with it, and it does work.
Yeah, that's neat. That's super, super neat. Lightning Blast. This is fan favorite character Nyla. Who is
you didn't know who it was the last card. You need the chat to tell you.
It's a different video, homie. I knew this one. 4/2, 4 low for 6, 1 high block. It's a spell card. It's got Chaos, Earth, Water. Response card pool : after your attack is blocked, it gets +1 damage for each card in your rival's card pool. So the more that they block, the crazier it is. And so it's very good on partials by making those a little bit better. And then Blitz, this deck gets 1 damage for each face-up rival foundation. So kind of does the opposite idea of what the Earth package is doing. Of the Earth package is actively flipping their things, but if they are fighting you and they're trying to unflip their things as fast as you can flip them, we're gonna be getting damage for that. Kind of interesting to put that on an Earth card ourselves with Lightning Blast, but there might be some how dare you unflip your things. Lightning Blast.
This card, I like the text on this card. This card, though, it just feels very like pulled in 2 different directions, right? The response in the card pool is just like a benefit. It punishes your opponent for half blocking. That's cool. But yeah, I agree with you. Like the symbols on this card with the Blitz ability, to me, just feels like a punishment for you not dealing with and interacting with your board. But like, I want to just like put this in a character that can like give it throw. Because it has the ability to like early on in the game when your opponent has face up resources to be for a lot of damage, right?
Yes.
I think like of an Annie Lionheart that can just like give this throw by turning your face sideways for a ton of damage, and even if they partially block it because you made it a throw, or if they block it in general, right, because you made it a throw, you give it even more based off of the cards in their card pool. I think that's really, really cool. Is it warranted for the 2-check? I don't know, but someone's gonna like this and they're gonna play it, and
it probably hits hard enough that it deserves the 2. Like I couldn't imagine this being like a 4/3 and then like being able to do all of this. And so like it's probably worth the risk. But you're right, it might fall off in scaling the later the game goes. This Lightning Blast might just be like I'm supposed to be trying to swing on turn 2, turn 3 kind of idea.
Yeah.
Which is like a weird place for my 2-check to exist, because I'm not gonna have a ton of resources in case I do fail my 2-check as I'm trying to swing with my 2-check. There's certainly a push and pull.
Side piece for it too. It's a cool, fun one to shove in the Chaos Devil Gin. It gives all your moves extra damage if they start blocking. So like that's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah. Up next, we've got Nature's Tempest. It is a 5/3/6 mid for 5. Very fast move. 2 low block spell. It's got all 4 of Keyleth symbols. Blitz. Each player chooses any number of foundations in their stage with different names and flips the rest. Very tough fighting Lightning Blast. It's just, hey, you get 1 of each. That's it. No more. Yeah. We're playing solitaire.
It forces you to do the Momo 3 gimmick.
Yes.
Which is really cool. It forces both of us, right? Which means if you play this against Momo 3, it feels useless most of the time.
This has the Earth symbol. You can just play it as Momo 3.
True.
Right? And then I don't flip any, you flip all of yours, and then you have to rebuild.
And then you nerf your own speed ability.
Sure. But like, if your foundations, if you've stacked up a bunch of multiple reusable things, maybe the idea is this easily could be a sideboard card, and just like, hey, you only get 1s of. Because it doesn't actually affect me at all.
I think the best thing is, obviously this has water, so I'm not going to count this argument in this thing, but like this is like a sideways answer to like what Ice Sword Execution is trying to do for certain decks. But instead of it as committing them, it's like a permanent answer where it says, hey, I know you assembled 3 or 4 recuperation times.
Yeah.
Hey, go down to 1, please.
Flip them, please. Yeah.
Yeah, flip all but 1. And so like that is, I think, good enough for cards like this to see play in a meta where people are playing a lot of 4-ofs in their decks. And I think there will always be decks that like to do that. So I think this will see some fringe play, but I don't think it's going to be like a build around or anything.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, I think back to like staring as a Ymir versus a recoup time recovery girl, and just like having access to Nature's Tempest would have been very cool in that matchup of just like, man, you've just assembled a board of 3 copies of the best foundations in your discard pile. Well, now they're just 1 copy of the best foundation in your discard pile. Let's flip the rest. Would be very neat. Yeah. Up next, I think this is my favorite card from the set. I haven't fully decided. It's No Mercy Percy. It's a 5/2, 5 mid for 6 with a 1 mid block. Echo range, tech, weapon, blitz. Shuffle 3 cards from your discard pile into your deck, draw a card, which means when you echo, you then shuffle 6 cards in your deck and you draw a second card. And then Inventor response, when you remove 1 or more cards, your rival sacrifices 1 face down foundation. And we've already talked about how often we can remove cards on inside of the
kit.
response of the kit for Percy. And so, like, if they have foundations that we care about at all, like, I don't know, maybe under the air symbol, we made them flip a bunch of shit. We just, like, nuke their whole board kind of for free, which I think is, like, this is the kind of destruction, the one-way destruction that is so toxic, and I am here for it. I am absolutely
It is conditional,
here for
right?
it.
Like, it requires them to be face down.
Yeah.
So obviously, I think as soon as the beginning of the game that your opponent slams and it looks like they're doing this sort of package. Obviously, it only works in Inventors. So there's only 2 characters or 3 characters I think that it works in.
Yeah.
And it's if you're doing this package. To me, I think that response is good, but we all know that Ruin hasn't been incredibly powerful in the game. It is fine. It is like a deterrent when you're as like aggressive about it, like Reiner Braun from set 1 is. I think it can be very strong depending on the board state of the game, which makes it good late because of that response.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, I think the best parts about this card is that it is very well statted. It has Echo, and it has the Blitz, like you said. I'm excited to shuffle 3 cards back into my deck that are mistimed remove triggers for my combined firepowers.
Correct.
The I'm with yous, the loss of consciousness, the whatevers
Correct.
that were checked when I played cards versus when I was during the enhanced step or whatever. You get to put those back into your deck to hopefully Yahtzee with a combined firepower and then draw a bonus card, right? And that's just going to be the best part of the card.
This card is statted so good, man. 5 mid for 6. Percy gives it the extra speed, and it's an echo. So if they like spent after you get done like removing all your stuff, they spend resources trying to block the first one. You just echo it and then blow up their face downs again. Like you're just like not allowed to flip cards against this one, which is like a lot of the really good minus speed or minus damage interactions are flip abilities because they are once per turn. Like imagine you Fei me and I just like blow it up. Like it's gotta feel so bad.
This card alone is going to give those aggro Percy decks maybe enough leverage to work against those heavy DR Hanj Zoe decks like we saw win Worlds.
Oh my goodness, poor Hanj.
Which just means that they're going to have to be way more controlled about what and when and how many face downs they have, or here comes the No Mercy Percy and I'll actually get a value of like getting 4 or 5 out of cards out of your stage. And that's where I think it'll be like a good kind of like rock paper scissors between those 2 decks and like skill orientation. But I think alone this card is obviously very, very good. I think it does warrant the 2 check though. Like you're gonna feel it when you check it in those decks. And a lot of the good cards for the Percy deck in my opinion are 5 diffs, and you're playing a style like response where every time I play a card we're both going to commit 1. So when you check this 2, your turn will also just be over. So you have to kind of be a little afraid of that. But the card's great. The card's cool.
I think it's my favorite card in the set. We'll move on to Orphanmaker's Fury. It is a 6/3, 5 high for 8, 2 mid-block Fury weapon. It's got Yasha's symbols, Blitz, : This deck gets 1 speed for each rage counter on your character, period. Holy cow, this move gets very fast. Very fast.
Yeah.
Very fast.
This is the payoff card, right? Like this is the 6/3 that gets I think at minimum you're looking to have at least 2 rage counters when you play this, which I think is a pretty easy place to get to.
Yeah.
I think a 7 high 8 for a 6/3 is pretty good. Also the fact that if they do block it, they're going to burn themselves usually for around at least 2. It could be more, of course, and it just gets bigger and bigger. And obviously, as it gets faster and faster with Yasha, it also scales more and more with the damage department because of Yasha's enhance and how it works.
Yeah, the lower their
It's
block mod, the more it burns, right? So if I've blocked with a one high
correct.
block, they burn for 4.
Room for 4, and it
So
can kill.
yeah, that's crazy. This is like extra besieged kind of energy.
Yeah, and then the fact that it's also just like a giant ass haymaker. Yeah,
Wowzers.
it's a good one. I don't think it's no 4 of or whatever, but like, I mean, you want to play it when you've got just the right amount of rage counters on your character to where it gets enough speed, and Ryasha gives it a good damage because of the rage counters, so 100%. It is a good one for sure.
Pristine swordplay, 4/3/4 mid for 4, 2 mid block ally, tech weapon, blitz ready an asset that has been ready this combat phase, and then enhance sack an asset this attack gets plus X damage. X equals the printed difficulty of the sacrificed asset. Obviously, the best asset to pick is Dottie, right? We play Dottie, we ready Dottie. We commit Dottie to ready something else. We sacrifice Dottie for +4 damage on this guy. Use Terry, spin a momentum, rebuild back in our card. The loop. We found it. We've done the thing.
Yeah, this card loves to be played second, because it means you could play a lead, commit Dottie to give 4 speed to whatever you played first. Something like, I don't know, Bedazzle Helm Blast because it has powerful 5 or whatever. Make a threatening attack that your opponent must block that you give a bunch of speed to. And then you play Pristine Swordplay, and it says ready up Dottie at blitz speed. And so you have it again to commit for 4 speed. You can use Tarion to commit that asset for 4 speed. And part of the reason, I guess, why this card has an enhance on it versus a blitz is so that after you've given it 4 speed with Tarion, you may sacrifice said Dottie to give it 4 damage, to give your 4 difficulty attack that you played on a 5,
8
sending an 8/8.
Yeah,
which feels very good. Obviously, Blitz, just being able to ready any asset is very good. This does already exist on a Chaos Attune card, so now you have it across these 3 symbols as well. Ally, I think, matters, of course, of everything we talked about in past videos in the life package that has ally synergy. I think the card's good. I don't think it's necessary for what the character Tarion is needing, though. I think there are a lot of different ways that you can just kind of build around and not need this card, but the card is good.
Hey man, I think a 4-diff 4 mid for 8 that like is re-readying your assets is 4-diff 8 mid for 8 is like very, very solid. It's very solid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially because like you're allowed to do it on like turn 2, right? Like swing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you didn't commit foundations for all of that. You were committing assets and stuff, and we are not Mimic. We cannot commit those assets to best check. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's very good.
Up next, we've got Resilient Charge, 7/3, 5 mid for 8, 1 mid block, stun, 1 charge slams. Got Kima symbols. If your character is a champion, it gets -1 difficulty and -1 to his block modifier. Response card pool. After the speed of your attack is reduced by a rival effect, that attack gets +1 speed. This is just any time it's in the card pool. It does not flip or remove or whatever in order to do this. If you minus my speed, I will plus it right back. Very, very solid on a 7-diff. And then response card pool flip. After an attack deals damage, mine or yours, I will redraw 1 card. So it feels very good to like partial block with this card, or I'll full block. They hit me with a move, I will flip it, I will redraw, or I can block the 3rd thing. I think all of these lines are very good. But I think that top response is really, really solid.
Yeah, this is just a fire Devil Jin card when I look at it.
Yeah.
And Devil Jin can actually probably also play this card on its 7 difficulty because of the way the character response works. And the card pool flip ability, although directly does not synergize with Devil Jin because it gets rid of an attack out of your card pool, we lost a Ward of Victor, so it's something you don't get really to do on that character anymore. It is just extra damage eventually when your attacks do land, or sorry, extra cards in hand when your attacks do land. Sometimes that matters when you're a 5-hander and you need to find some extra gas. So I think this card's cool. I don't think it's crazy, but yeah, that middle response, the middle ability is very, very good. If you're a champion, though, it probably feels a little better as a 6 difficulty and a 0 mid block. So
yeah, 6-diff 5 mid for 8 is like 5 mid for 8 stun 1 as a 6-diff is dope. Like I think it's really, really playable. Spell Bolt and Sword Swipe. It is a 5/3, 5 high for a 5 with a 2 high block, Fury range spell weapon. Blitz, discard a card. If you discarded a spell this way, Ready Foundation has not been ready as combat phase. If you discarded a weapon this way, freeze one rival foundation. Obviously, if you discard both, you get both. And then Blitz, each of your attacks with Spell Bolt in its name gains Frenzy this turn. Barrett, would you like to talk about this card, buddy?
Yeah, I love this guy. This is the bread and butter of Ford. Ford, once as we talked about in the character video, gets to play any card with the word Spellbolt in its name from his discard pile, basically once per turn, because he commits. You can either do it on defense as a block, or you can do it on your turn, of course. And so he's essentially a 7-hander. And this is the one you always pick. Spoiler alert, this is the one you always pick.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter when you do it, but because he's an enhanced commit to do it, you usually have to play a lead attack, and then you can go grab this and you play this on a 6. And you don't really care about playing it on 6 because
you discard the spell and then re-ready.
You can discard a spell and ready a foundation. If you discarded a weapon, though, you get to freeze a rival foundation to hope they don't backswing you. And if they blocked your first attack, it has another ability that says Blitz, all your spellbolts get frenzy. So it includes this one.
Yep.
And it includes the Blitz timing for frenzy. So it sometimes is just a 6 for 6. But also, if they didn't block your first move, then you got to trigger Ford's ability. It's just a snowball mechanic. This card's way too good. Obviously, for the top Blitz, I was talking about it in the death video, or at other cards as we've gone. There's water ones as well. You want spell weapons, so you can discard for these, but you also want the high value ones. This card, in conjunction with Mariner's Spellbolt, which has water attune, you play your normal chain as UniVersus, 5, 4, 3, 3, 3, whatever. And when you're on the Mariner's Spellbolts at the end, because you've given them frenzy, they're really, really good. And if at any point you hard draw one of these, if you play one from your discard pile and you play the one that you drew, you've given all of your stuff double frenzy, sometimes triple frenzy, and it just scales and scales. Your opponent's not allowed to block you, which means they're not allowed to block you, or if they do, they're going to get punished. And if they don't block you, Ford seals your opponent's foundations
and gives more damage.
And it just snowball mechanic. This character, I think, is going to be quite good, and I think a lot of people have kind of mixed feelings about him. And I can tell you that the character is just plain good, And this is why. This card. This card right here is the enabler. That's it.
All that shit makes sense to me, man. Let's talk Spirit Unicorns. 5/3, 4 mid for 5. It's a 2 low block. EX3 ally spell. Blitz, mill 2. If this is your first attack this turn, this card does not count with progressive difficulty to play spell cards this turn. And then response card pool, after you ready one or more foundations, your next attack gets +1 damage. So Jester has this identity where she wants to play out a bunch of spells, because whenever she hits with a spell, she gets to re-ready one. And now it is re-ready one, gain a health, +1 damage. And this one says that it doesn't count as progressive. So it kind of sticks in your card pool for just like free value. Not sure I needed the EX3 as it wants to be like the opener. It's only 5 damage or whatever, but like it's nice if they go to 5, you win the game. This feels great. I think this is a very, very cool place to be for your 7-hand size character. That it's a 7-hand size aggro character because I just get to randomly pick up the best card that I check throughout my turn. Oh, I checked a Spirit Unicorns. All right, I'll pick it up and I'll play, and we're now every time I ready a foundation on my attack, next attack gets +2 damage, right? Like Spirit Unicorns and a Spirit Unicorns feels very, very solid. So it is it's pretty good.
I think I have strong opinions on this card. Just if you want to do the spell package stuff like on Chaos in general, I think putting 2 of this in your deck and it's just the Crow and Frog lead for your spell turn is just good enough.
Yeah.
And the fact that it has EX3, it doubles up as a finisher sometimes. I genuinely think you can trigger that response 0 times, and this card will actually still be pretty good in your spell deck.
Yes.
Genuinely, I feel that way. But that means you only need to put like 2 of these in your deck because you don't want to see 4 of it, because if the Blitz only works for the first attack, easy 2 of in your spell deck.
Totally. Up next, we've got Sweeping Daggers. It is a 4/3 5 mid for 4/1 mid block. Fury Weapon. Blitz. Remove an attack from your rival's discard pile. This deck gains all abilities, keywords, and keyword rating printed on that card, period. We'll come back to that. Blitz. Remove a card with dagger or daggers in its name from your discard pile, : your rival loses 1 health. We have printed plenty of daggers/daggers inside this set, as well as Vax's Challenger deck. How did this top blitz make it past playtest? What the actual heck, man?
Because it's so cool.
Actual heck, dude. I am so nervous about this card. Stealing abilities off your rival's cards is so strong, and the fact that it removes the attack from the discard pile says that they never get to play with it ever again. I truly stole it.
Yeah, it's very good. I mean, this very much is the embodiment of being a good thief, which Vax is. As somebody who has a character card that copies your opponent's attacks, and this being a similar thing, it's not as good as you think it is. It is only as good as the attacks that are being played in the game at the given time. And in a world where currently most of the attacks that are being played are pretty good, this card feels very good.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, I wish my character was legal and reversals existed. Maybe my character would feel pretty good right now. But yes, I agree. The point is that this attack is meant to be a full value attack, and it very much feels that way when you do it. I think it makes a lot of sense specifically because I don't really think Vax, the character card that got printed in this set, has a lot of like direct synergy because he plays very generically. So you make the ultra rare feel pretty powerful to play. And it can kind of turn into whatever. Ready? This is just one of those attacks that's also not super great early on because there's less options for you to choose from. They might not do anything, but this card gets infinitely better the later you go. Because you're right. As soon as a Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken enters my opponent's discard pile, you bet your sorry ass I'm picking that. Because it means they don't get it, and I get to use its enhances. And that feels very good.
Yeah, I look at like Ravages of War. Like these crazy
Sure,
8/4s,
yeah.
Like, and I go Sweeping Daggers, Ravages, discard a card, spin a momentum, destroy a foundation. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
I play mine on a 4.
Unexpected outcomes is a funny one too. I mean, you look at the deck that just won Worlds, right? So
Yes. But at the same time, like,
But-
the only thing my rivals checked is like a Wall Maria's Might. That's not gonna feel that great. So
yeah,
I get it.
I think even
I just think that attacks are very good right now.
I agree with you. Like you copy Determined Advance, it gains all of it. It gains the Blitz, it gains the Static, it gains all of it. It gains EX3.
Yes.
I agree with you. It's
Turning
very
this thing into
good
a Bad
when
Lore
it
release
works.
is kind of messed up.
But at the same time, like you said, you'll play against, I don't know, you'll play against somebody's Grog deck, and all they did was put all the Rage Synergy cards into their deck, and you went, oh, okay, copying any of these is nothing.
Not that great. Yeah.
Does absolutely nothing, right? Like that exists. You'll play against they don't want to exist in Standard, but you copy a Mina 2 deck, and the Mina 2 deck is playing a bunch of Mina cards, and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Like it happens, and it will happen. And at the same time, a card like this existing means maybe people won't play as many Vorcheck decks because, like you said, copying somebody's Colossus Titan would be crazy.
Colossal Thermal Blast, the 13 diff.
Yeah.
Blitz, flip 3, it hits you, ruin them.
Yeah. It's a cool card. People are going to have a ton of fun with this card, and it is a ton of fun to play.